I will say South Korea on our website is behind the United States is the number 2 country that visits our website.
Okay, so I prepared some question for you. I heard you were a beer geek before you were a beer maker. So
100%.
What's your favorite style to drink as a beer geek?
When I first started, it was barrel-aged stouts. You know, when I first started. And that's why I think we make pretty good ones. Like, I drank every barrel-aged stout in this country.
Really?
You know, I mean, like, oh my gosh. We're also here in the Midwest, so, you know, Goose Island kind of kicked it off, really, to be honest. My wife worked for Goose Island, so I had access to all the early Goose Island stuff. And then you're like, all right, so somebody out in California says that the brewery's better, Black Tuesday. Well, let's try one. Let's get it. You know, you know all these, you know how they are. And, and so that was my initial, and then it was sour beer. And so go figure, we have a brewery that makes sour beers and stouts. You know, that's what my first beer geek experiences were. So right now, I really, really, really geek out on when people send us either one, their lager beer, you know, preferably Pilsner or Helles, preferably Helles for me. Because I never realized how not perfect so many of them were until you have a perfect one. And when you have a perfect one, you're like, wow, there's a long ways to go for craft breweries to get better at making lagers. You know what I mean? And then 2, weirdly enough, like West Coast IPA. And I don't even like IPA.
Really?
But I geek out on trying them because IPA's changed so dramatically since back when I first started.
Yeah.
And there's a decade where I didn't drink any IPA, pretty much, you know, or any West Coast IPA, you know, just all the East Coast stuff. You know how that's kind of changed. And so now the beers are like Green Cheek.
They make some excellent West Coast IPAs.
Excellent. And you know, it's like New World West Coast stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the one with the new hops, but still bitter, but no the malty flavor at all.
Yes.
Yeah. I get it.
And when you have one, you're like, I'm excited about this again, you know? So those kind of beers.
That's really interesting because I see so many beer geeks that fall into love with barrel-aged stouts and sours, lambics, but like 3 years later, they're geeking out on Helles, Pilsner, lagers, and it's all the same.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's a full circle.
Right. It's a full circle.
It is.
When I homebrew, I try to mimic like your non-barrel aged stouts, the 5s. So like that, is there any beer that motivated you the most?
So my first stout brew was mimicked off of Breakfast Stout from Founders, just the old original Breakfast Stout. Then I had Bourbon County Stout. And you're like, what is this? You know, back in the early Bourbon County Stout, the 12-ounce bottle.
Oh,
The old school label on it. That obviously became an inspiration for barrel aged stout from us. So on the Saison side, I'll be honest, I had not had any funky Saisons before I started brewing them. I had read about Gene at Tired Hands making this Chardonnay barrel fermented farm hands and Saison in Chardonnay barrels. And I was like, that sounds like such an awesome idea. I was like, I just love that idea. Like Saison in Chardonnay barrels sounds perfect because I love wine. So I just started making my own way.
That's really interesting. Right now I'm 6,600 miles away from America, so I can be wrong, but it feels like the trend of sour beers is moving toward to those smoothie beers. And how do you think about this trend? And as a authentic sour brewer, what do you think about these smoothie sour beers?
I really like that people are just always pushing the envelope with beer. I've had a couple of the smoothie sour beers, and some of them are real tasty. Like some of them you just giggle and you're like, wow, that does taste good. Yes. Now I can't drink a whole can of it. And so you know, those sweet. And those brewers are probably going, wow, this is really tasty stout. I can't drink a whole bottle of this. And you're like, yeah, you know, but we live in the same realm. You know, we're both making beer in our own way. So I will always be a traditionalist with sour beer. And if people won't buy it, then I'm not making them good enough. You know, I should just make better beer. Yes. You know, so I'm competitive on that nature. Like we can make really good stuff, so let's just make it good. But I think it's cool people are doing those. I probably won't do them because they're just not my jam. I like to make things I want to drink. That's the joy of being small and the joy of having full control. Since my wife and I own it, we're just like, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? Like nobody can tell me otherwise.
That's cool. Okay, so one viewer just asked me that, do you have anything in mind that you care about when collaborating with the Casey?
Oh, with Troy?
Yeah.
So we only collaborate with friends. Troy and Emily, husband and wife team, they started their brewery right around the same time we started our brewery. We had so many things in common. We were going through like small business ownership at the same time with kids. Loved them to death. They are just absolutely great people, and that's why we work with them year over year over year over year. You know.
And the favorite part is that you guys use different label for each other. That's so fun.
Have you heard the label story? Do you know how we make those labels? I draw our labels mimicked off of Troy's.
Oh, really?
Like, I draw that with like colored pencils. Like so Tim Botchin, who does all of our design work and all of our labels, this is the only label he doesn't do, and I draw it by hand, and he always makes fun of it. He's like, this is so bad. I'm like, I know, but it's, and then Troy draws all their labels. He actually does that one, and then I actually do ours, if that makes sense, with colored pencils.
You and your brewery brew lots of styles, from lager to barrel-aged stouts and sours, but what exact style do you want to be like famous for?
If we could be famous for something like an actual definitively, I would be like our Saison production. I think our Saison production is getting better and better. Our white labels right now are the best they've ever been. And we started as a sour brewery predominantly, and we still predominantly are a sour brewery. Now, a lot of people would say we're more famous for our stouts. You could say Saison and Wild Ales, our funky sour stuff, and our fruiting, and our use of that.
So right now we are having a really hard time in the world right now, right? Small breweries like you will have really hard time because, as I know, you're closing your tap room for how long? Like almost half an year?
We've both been closed for more than a year now.
Really?
We had to close down last March. Closed down in March 2020, both places. And we've only been doing curbside and the online sales.
That might be really tough for you, but how did you...
How did we pivot? How did we move, keep going?
Yeah.
So we didn't lay anybody off. I was adamant about that, trying to figure out how to survive. We moved all of our tasting room staff. So you've been to the cellar. We met at the cellar, right? It was when we took all of our cellar staff, and they work up at the brewery now, helping with the curbside. We moved everything to online, so it's been a lot more work. Curbside's just been like people driving through the line, and they open their trunks up, and we just throw the beer in the back of their trunk, and they take off, like that kind of way. So fortunately for us, we are relatively popular around the world. We have a high demand for our tiny brewery. We're very lucky. We're very, very fortunate. Rate Beer naming us number 2 in the world again was really awesome. So it does not hurt by any means. And so we were fortunate enough to be able to keep everybody on. We just had to do online sales, which isn't fun. I like the bar. We like seeing people. It's a people interaction business is what this is, and we haven't had any of that for more than a year now. So, but we survived. We're getting ready to reopen the cellar in May. Yeah, nice. It'll be open in May, and then we have a new facility we're kind of building out across the street from the brewery.
I saw it.
Did you? We're kind of like hush-hushing about it and showing it off just a little bit by little bit. It'll be a curbside location with a huge patio. And then once that opens up, then the brewery could reopen. Because right now the brewery tasting room is like our curbside hub. We've made it so far, and I think we're going to be fine. And we kept everybody on. We gave raises.
Wow.
We did all the responsible ownership things last year, and I think we're going to be fine.
What do you think about hype and resell? It's a tough one, right?
People always like to ask that. So,
oh, really?
They do. People love asking reselling stuff. So hype is nothing that we do. You know what I mean? Hype is all secondary. Like, we don't hype up our own stuff. We make what we do. We don't even market really other than Instagram. Like, here it is. Here it comes. This is what we're doing. That's just being a responsible business. Letting people know what you're doing. So we don't hype anything up by any means. On one level, I don't like the term hype anymore because we've been around long enough. Maybe we just be a good brewery. You know what I mean? Can it just be quality? Like, at what point, I'm here 20 years still doing this, and people are like, oh, hyped up side project. I'm like, can we just be a good brewery? Like, when did it become, you know what I'm saying? So we're 7 years into this, so maybe we're not hyped anymore. We're just okay, doing our jobs. And then reselling, obviously people are going to resell the beer. It's not my favorite thing because it gets shipped around, beat up, not probably taken care of. Back when we were open, the people that resell were always the rudest, when they would show up the releases and they were in line. So you just kind of like, man, please don't come if you're going to be this mean to people, because the people that care about us and the brewery want to stop and share some beer and drink and say hi and meet. The people reselling, this is a business to them. And so that was my biggest thing. It's going to happen. I've gotten over it. Like, it's not my favorite thing, but it happens. So,
I know it's impossible, but do you have any plan in future to export your beer?
So we do some minute exporting for fun. We haven't shipped anything through them in a while. We've shipped beer to Europe before. We've shipped beer to Japan before. We've shipped beer to China before.
Really?
I will say South Korea on our website is behind the United States is the number 2 country that visits our website.
Really?
So we have, it really is. So So we have some fans over there.
Damn.
We have some fans. So we're just small. You've seen our place. It's not big. We don't make a lot of beer.
Yeah.
But I love sharing it. I love getting it to the right people, the people that want to drink it and enjoy it. So that was part of our question last year. Is like, when could we figure out how to get some beer to South?
Right now the viewers are crazy. They're like, please.
Now it won't be very much, and it would probably be mostly white label stuff at first, but it would just be very small drops. But I know you guys have some amazing craft beer bars, and you have a huge craft beer community.
Yeah.
And like I said, the number 2 country in the world to visit our website is South Korea.
They're crazy.
No, it's great. It's great. It's really cool.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So do you have any, like, your favorite brewery? First, lager, and second, stout, and 3, sour.
Oh, that makes it a lot easier. I appreciate that. So lager beer, beer stock.
Yeah.
Oh, and I really do like Dan Suarez's lagers too. Stouts, other than ours, I love what Brad Clark's doing. I like his new private press stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got his old world flair still going on, and I know he's getting like some of the new world stuff going as they age longer for him. But I love Brad's stouts because I love Brad too. Brad's just actually a fantastic human being. It makes his beer even taste better. When you have his stouts. And then Neil at Weldworks. I know some of these are big and massive, but I love all his non-adjunct ones. He does a really good job with the non-adjunct.
They're great.
It's one of those, like, he's known. I like the non-adjunct stuff really, really a lot. And I have not had a lot of the adjunct ones.
Really?
Right. Yeah, I've had a couple of them, but I'm more of like, here, let me try your non-adjunct stuff, Neil. And Doug at Cycle does a lot of fun adjuncts in the level that I like. You know what I mean? And his beers are a little bit drier, and it's a different climate down there, so the aging is different. And I think you can definitely taste where they're aged. Because it's a lot warmer down there, and things have a lot to do with that too. So it's cool to see how regionality actually does influence these beers quite a bit. And then for
Saison and
Saison,
Wild,
Saison for sure. Saison is Sante Darius. I love their Saison.
Okay, so what's your favorite beer from them?
Saison Bernese. Just Saison Bernese.
Same as me.
That's all I need. So that's one of my favorite Saisons, one of my favorite beers in the world, Saison Bernese. And then for wild ales and stuff too, like Trevor DeGard, I love what he's doing now. I love all of this, funky, musty, cheesy, spontaneous, like, his flair in the tradition of lambic, if you will, like, but it's still him. You know what I mean? It's cool. It'll never be Belgian lambic, but it's not supposed to be. It's made in Tillamook-Oregon, and it's his flair, and I really dig that a lot. Oh, you know who else is making really good stouts now too? I'm really digging. I like Gabe's his adjuncting and everything's been really cool, and he's just making. I'm really digging his new line of stouts and stuff that he's kind of come up with lately.
I hope we can meet next year, right?
Absolutely, I'm serious, absolutely. If you ever are thinking about coming, just email me and let me know because we'll figure out like a good time to come. Like we have stout week, we have a sour week, we have beer barrel time release. If we're lucky, we're gonna do the Invitational again next year.
Oh, really?
Our
because
festival,
I really wanted to go there.
It turned out really lovely. Like we just asked everybody to bring one keg, and so people brought some really awesome stuff. So that's the tough thing with festivals. When you do want to do them, you're like, I want to go to that festival. The next thing you know, they're like, we need you to bring 10 kegs. Like, we are small, man. 10 kegs is a lot of beer. You know what I mean? So like, we just asked all of our friends to bring one awesome keg, and it just turned out really great. Enjoy your middle of the night there, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. See you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
See you, buddy.
방금 잠시 꿈을 꿨던 것 같아요. 좀 새벽 감성에 술 안 마셨는데 새벽 감성에 취했어요. 그래가지고 이 비어베럴 타임도 있는 김에 서프한테 메일을 보내볼까? 이 생각이 들었어요. 코리아 자니? 했죠.